Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over how to replace the fuel sending unit. I recommend that you follow the GM instruction manual. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'll show you how I do it. This is my opinion on it. And here's the new sending unit right here. And it does come with some instructions from General Motors on how to do that. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the fuel line and I'm going to drain that tank. And then after that, I'm going to disconnect my battery. Okay, one thing you want to do is remove your gas tank, let all the fumes out and the pressure. Also, on the inside of my car, I've already got the gas tank hooked up. I'm going to cycle this back and forth. And you can see I have the fuel tank right here going from my, I have a little filter on there for when I ran the E85, but I have that on there so you can just drain the fuel tank and just use your fuel pump to do that. I also have a fan going right now to make sure that any fumes inside my garage will be blown out while I'm doing this procedure. I'm gonna go ahead and empty the gas tank and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I disconnected the battery. I drained the gas tank using the ignition. Now I'm going to remove my exhaust pipe. You see it goes back here, it comes apart in about 3 or 4 places. This is a ZZP 3-inch exhaust, so it's pretty simple to remove. So I'm going to remove that right now. Okay, next underneath here you want to disconnect a few of these vent hoses. This one goes here. I disconnected that. This one goes here. Disconnected that. Disconnected the fill line. Also disconnected a couple connectors over here and these connectors, and this is this wire harness right here that comes down, so when you lower the tank you won't mess up your wiring. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove a couple of bolts that hold up the tank. Go ahead and show you the 4 bolts you have to remove. One of them is right here. The other one is right there, which I've already removed. You can see it hanging down there. There's one right here, and then there's one back up in there, which you can't see. Alright, you can see that the gas tank is out. That's what it looks like underneath. Now go ahead and pull it out. So once you pull it out in a position where you can get to work on it, you can see your fuel level and fuel module is right in front of you. You go ahead and push this blue button in order to remove this tube, and then you push on this in order to remove this connector. And once you get that removed, you take a screwdriver and you pound in the opposite direction of which this thing rotates in order to get this off. And we want to make sure you don't use the same seal. Go ahead and remove your fuel module. So you can see the one on the left is the one that came out. You can see that it came apart, and that's why I was having problems when I go around a corner losing fuel. And my gas gauge wasn't working because there's no way it could work. Anyway, that's a new one. I'm going to go ahead and save that. So I think some of these parts are becoming less accessible. These cars are getting older. But at least we know what the problem was. Go ahead and, when you put this new one back in, this comes with a new seal. So you want to put that in there. And I'll show you how to put that in just a second. Okay, now that you have this cleaned and you have the new O-ring, go ahead and install that. And once that's installed, then you can install your new fuel module. It really only goes, just remember the way that it came out, which in this one was like this direction. And once you got that on there, Then you can replace the ring. And keep some pressure on it. Once you get it in place, you use a little hammer and a screwdriver, because this has to be in the same direction so this connector will fit. Now that'll work perfect. So now that that's installed, go ahead and connect your electric line and then your fuel line. And while you have your gas tank out, you might as well check on the inside and make sure there's not any junk in there. And if there is, go ahead and clean it out while you've got it out, so you don't have to do it again. And that's it. Then you just reinstall it. Alright, since you know how to take it apart, you just do the opposite when you put it back together. So I'm just going to do the little YouTube trick. Alright, now that everything's installed, just make sure you hook everything back up. These, your connectors up there. Make sure your fuel line's in, doesn't leak. Go ahead and pressurize the system by turning on the key, and make sure you don't have any leaks before you start it up and drive down the road. It's real important. Now on my dashboard, you can see that I had the engine light. I went to take it in to get the emissions test on it, and with the engine light, even though it was only the fuel gauge, it wouldn't accept it. So anyway, that's why I had to change it. I'm going to go ahead and reset the code, and let's see if it stays off. It says low fuel because I only have like maybe a gallon in there. But before, when this happened, the engine light would come right back on. So we got it fixed. You can see there's just a little bit of fuel in there now. Before there was it was just pegged all the way to the bottom. So it looks like we got her done. Anyway, we sure appreciate you watching. If you like this video, please subscribe. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. That'd be great. We appreciate you watching, and we'll talk to you next time.